and welcome. David Levin here, Raising the Game today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking about the mental game of sports and competition. Fridays are for the rest of our lives. This week, I want to talk about pre-game anxiety. So, you play great in practice, you love the game, but on game day, your nerves kick in, you get stuck in your head, your game sort of falls apart, and it's super frustrating because you have no idea what to do about it. This is a very common problem. It's one of the top concerns parents have for their junior athletes. So I want to share 5 things you can think about and do to help fix this problem. Number 1, make sure you're working on the right thing. As a parent, it hurts to see your child stressed out and struggling. So of course, our first instinct is to help however we can, right? Unfortunately, the things we try hardly ever do help. And why is that? Because we're focused on the wrong problem. We think the problem is that they're thinking negative thoughts. I can't do it. The other team's too good. I always choke under pressure and so on. So the solution we suggest is to think positive thoughts instead. You've got this, stay strong, you're a winner, you can do it. But the problem isn't really that they're thinking unhelpful thoughts. It's that they're thinking at all. The key to peak performance is being fully focused and present in the moment. So the real enemy of peak performance is simply being stuck in their head. In other words, the solution is not to try to think positive thoughts, it's to learn how to get out of their head and back in the game. Psychologists call this skill cognitive control. It's the ability to direct your thoughts and attention rather than having them jump around like they tend to do. And learning how to develop and strengthen this skill is the only way an athlete gets real control over their mental game. So the question for you ultimately is how to support them in doing that work. Number 2, help them understand how the inner game really works. The truth is, there's not much you can do directly to help someone develop cognitive control. For that, they need to take a dedicated training of some kind, like our Raise Your Inner Game Sports Academy. But there are still things you can do to help them keep from getting stuck in their head on game day. The first is to help them start to see their thoughts as being separate from them. Here's what I mean, and this gets to how the inner game really works. I heard a young man speaking some time ago about his struggles with depression. And he said the thing that helped him the most was when his therapist said, those thoughts you're hearing are just your brain doing what teenage brains do. You don't have to listen to them. So you see, there's that sense that there are 2 separate things happening there. The thoughts coming from your brain and you. Another funnier example from a bumper sticker said, don't believe everything you think. So again, there's that separation. There's your brain generating the thoughts, and there's you who hears them. It's 2 separate things. The more you can help them see that, the more control they'll have over their mental game. In the heat of the moment, when the negative, unhelpful thoughts come up, they'll be able to say, nope, not now. We'll talk about that later, and get back in the game. Number 3, help them put together a game day mental game plan. So once you know the job is to help them stay out of their head, you can put systems and practices in place that support that. Again, the ultimate work of managing their thoughts and emotions will be up to them, but you can definitely do things that'll help. And a game day mental game plan is one of those things. So this is really just a step-by-step checklist for exactly what they'll do to make sure they're in their optimal state for competition. There are 6 distinct mental game phases of competition: the night before, the morning of, the transition to the facility, the pre-game time, during competition, and post-game. So for each phase, you work with them to come up with a list of things they feel will optimize their mental game on game day. And then when the big game approaches, they just work through the steps. Not only does this help directly because of the things they're doing, it also helps them feel confident that they're ready because they know they've done all the steps and followed their routine. So item number 4 is checklist options. These are some typical things they might want to put on their game day mental game plan. Start the night before, focus on nutrition, hydration, and getting good sleep. The morning of, it's common to start with a quiet reflection of some kind, something to get them into a calm, focused state they can carry through the day. We also recommend starting a phone ban in the morning, no social media, that continues till after the competition. As they travel from the home or your home or the hotel to the facility, they can start listening to their game day music, something that puts them in their ideal competitive state. This travel phase is also the time to shift into peak competition mode, which is basically a total cognitive lockdown, meaning no thoughts, no conversations, nothing allowed that isn't directly related to peak performance. And by the way, you should support this too. From this point on, when they click into this mode, try not to ask them any questions or do anything that pulls them away from this focus. Also, don't expect them to engage with you in a normal way from now until after the game. Just let them click into this peak mode and stay there as best they can. Once they arrive at the facility, they can do another quiet, focused exercise that includes picturing themselves performing well and reflecting on the deeper reason why they want to do well. This is their big why. That can be very helpful. And that is a pretty good starting list of things they might want to put on their game day mental game plan. And we know these work because they come straight from our advanced mental game mastery course. But remember, these are just suggested options, okay? They should decide for themselves what they want to put on their checklist. And they can continue to tweak the checklist over time too. The best approach is to try things out, see how they go, and continue to adjust as they go forward. So then some final thoughts and perspective on all this. First, no mental game training can get rid of all of an athlete's anxiety. When you hear stories of NFL players throwing up from nerves before a game, you know anxiety is just part of the game. The goal of mental game training is not to no longer get nervous. It's to not let their nerves keep them from playing well. The good news is they can absolutely learn to do that, and the things we've mentioned here will help. But ultimately, to consistently play at their best, no matter how nervous they are, they're going to need to train their mental game. Specifically, they're going to need to develop cognitive control, as I mentioned, along with its sister skills, emotional self-regulation and impulse control. For now, for sure, talk to them about the suggestions in this episode. Work with them to incorporate as many ideas as they think will be helpful. But beyond that, I strongly encourage you to consider getting them into a dedicated mental game training program that teaches these core self-mastery skills. Not only will it help them deal with their pregame anxiety now, it'll also give them powerful inner skills to help them be what every parent wants, which is to be happy and successful for the rest of their lives. So that is what to do about pregame anxiety, at least some good, solid things to think about and a place for you to start. Make sure they're focused on the fact that they're thinking and off in their head more than the thoughts themselves. Help them see that they are separate from their thoughts. Work with them to put together a game day mental game plan, and ultimately get them some practical mental game training that teaches cognitive control and emotional self-regulation. All right, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, keep up the good work. I'll see you next time.